Hey there, this is David Larson at the 2012 RSA conference in San Francisco. We are lucky enough to be joined by Scott Goldman, the president and co-founder of TextPower. Scott, thanks so much for being with us today.
My pleasure, thanks for having me.
So Scott, maybe you can tell our viewers a little bit about TextPower and what you do.
Sure, TextPower is actually an SMS messaging company, and the way that TextPower has developed our website security product called TextKey is we've kind of turned the security model upside down. In a lot of cases, when a website wants to protect its logins, somebody logs in with a user ID and a password, and then in some cases, a message is sent from the website to the phone, to a user's cell phone, displaying a code. And when that code is displayed, then the user has to go back to the website, enter that code on the website, and that grants them access to the website. We've turned that model upside down. The way that we do it is we've made it very easy to implement by providing a plugin for the website owner. And what happens is, after you enter your user ID and password, a code actually appears on the screen. You then have to take your cell phone that is pre-registered to be associated with the ID and password, and you have to send a text with that code from your phone. If it doesn't come from your phone, it's not accepted by our system. What a lot of people don't know is that cellular phones aren't recognized by the carrier by their cell phone number. They're recognized by an embedded, hidden, unique device ID. It's like a fingerprint for every phone. And unless the code comes from the phone with that fingerprint, it doesn't get accepted by our system. So we've actually taken it and turned it upside down. Instead of the message going to the phone, the message has to be sent from the phone into our system. Then the two computers talk to each other, and when there is a handshake between the two computers, access is granted. We are then out of the loop. Everything has happened in the cloud. Very simple for the website to implement, very inexpensive, no key fobs to carry around, no secondary devices, no boxes, no servers, no software. Make it very easy for the website to implement the service.
Very interesting. One of the challenges could be privacy and people opting in for this service. Could you tell us a little bit about how you see privacy playing a role?
Yeah, actually privacy is a critical component, and as you well know, everybody's cell phone, I mean, if you're under 50 or certainly under 40, your cell phone's always within arm's reach. And the way that this system works, it ties the cell phone to the user ID and password. So unless someone has your cell phone, there's no way that they're going to break into any website that has your information on it. So we view this as being a really critical component to help secure people's private information.
Very interesting. We talked to you earlier and you said you could draw a diagram about how TextPower operates. How do you feel about that?
Well, I'm no Picasso, but I'll give it a shot. Now, typically, the way things work is there's a computer over here, and on the computer there's an ID and a password field, and when a user enters their ID and password, then a text message is typically sent to the user's cell phone, and that text message has a code on it, and that code must then be entered into another blank field that appears on that web page. We've actually turned that model upside down, and rather than doing it that way, the way that it works is when the computer that you're logging into, the website that you're logging into, you've got the same ID and password, and when the ID and password is successfully entered, what happens then is that our special code is displayed on the actual web page. The user is out here somewhere with their cell phone that's got their unique device ID, the UUID, their unique device ID, and they then have to take that code, they look at that code on the screen, and they enter that code X1234, whatever that code is, and they send it via a standard text message into our cloud-based security system. Our system then verifies that code as being received from the correct cell phone, and then does a handshake with this computer and says to that computer, we've got the code, it came from the right cell phone, you can now grant access to that user. And then that user then has access to that website. But unless the correct code is sent from the correct phone, it doesn't happen, the user is blocked out, and their information is protected.
So Scott, what's the one thing people should know about TextPower?
Well, TextPower is by nature a text messaging company. We actually developed this out of a need that we had for ourselves. We wanted to protect our own information. So we thought, how can we do this and make it easy for companies that want to implement security in the same way that we do it? You know, there are a lot of big companies like Facebook and Google that offer what's called in this industry, the security industry, a multi-factor authentication or a two-factor authentication mechanism. But taking that multi-factor authentication mechanism and making it available for a small or medium business or an enterprise that doesn't have all of the resources that Facebook and Google does, that was the challenge. So when we looked at it, we wanted to make it as easy as possible for people to implement TextKey and put all of the complexity on the cloud side on our end, and that's what we've done.
It's very interesting, and I appreciate you joining us today.
Sure, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, and that's Scott Goldman from TextPower, and this is David Larson from NetHawk TV. Check out more videos at nethawk.tv.